Hey guys, it's Jessica Mauboy here and you're watching renownedforsound.com.
Jessica, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Busy?
Very busy actually. Obviously doing a lot of stuff with the EP and about to release it, which is this coming Friday, so looking forward to having everyone listen to it and I guess hear their thoughts or their takes on the special edition.
Well, do you get nervous before releases? How do you generally feel in the lead up to it?
Yeah, I guess releasing anything, I think from, having come from the studio writing it to having it out there is quite nerve-wracking because other people get to listen to it and tell their own story through the song or have their own opinion about it and how they feel. So I guess for any artist that is, that's allowing everyone to hear their story, it can be nerve-wracking.
Quite
definitely,
daunting.
yeah.
So talk us through the release, because obviously it's an iTunes session. Tell us a little bit about the record and what appealed to you the most about wanting to do this type of a recording.
Yeah, well, it is definitely exciting for me. I've never done an EP before. It's as they say, an extended play. It's like an album, but a much shorter version of an album. And I guess my very first thoughts of doing it was that it was going to be all live, and I guess working with iTunes and really kind of the process of making an EP, working with my musical director Darryl Beaton and Kevin Mendoza, who I emotionally worked really close with doing the EP, because the structure of it was very different from actually being in a studio and recording. It was being in the one room, facing everyone with their instruments, going, counting down to actually singing the song straight through rather than cutting it all up and doing things to it and putting, a kind of samples in it or anything. It was just organically raw, and I was, my duty was to just sing the song without trying to make any mistakes. and that went for everyone within the band, from the string section to Darryl being, on the grand piano to the BVs. Everyone had to be perfect. In the sense of, that live perfect, as if you were about to perform to a whole 300 audience or, 100 crowd. But I guess that's what I kind of had to keep in mind too, is that although it was that live sound, I really wanted to make it feel intimate and as if I was actually there in the room with them.
So what's it like to revisit some of your biggest hits over the years and do it in this sort of a setting? Yeah,
originally, I wanted to do, quite a bit more covers, because you see on there's Frank Ocean, Thinking About You, which I love, and also a song that I did for the soundtrack, The Sapphires, Who's Loving You. But yeah, going back to, Visit Burn, Running Back, Inescapable, even doing Pop a Bottle, Never Be the Same. I think going back to try and make them sound live, because they're so electro on the album. I really understood that we wanted to make that live sound with them, and which was quite easy really once we got the structure of the tempo and what should go in here, a bit of shaker here and a bit of strings and guitar to follow. It became really easy, so it pretty much felt like a jam, where everyone was just there eyeing each other when we knew when to stop, when we knew when to keep going. We just looked at each other, so it made it really easy.
It must have been also quite a nice reminder for you as well, just to sort of hear where you've come from over these past few years, revisiting all of those songs in the studio again.
Yeah, I think emotionally too, because there was, it was kind of played in a different time, really. It was, it was just great for me to go and revisit, because, I was emotionally I was in a different space and time recording, you know, Burn and Running Back. You know, they were my very first songs that I'd released from the very first album, and you know, it was an exciting time, and you know, all I wanted was to you know, to hear a beat and sing on top of it, whereas, you know, we had to work together in the same room and really kind of follow each other, and vibe off each other, which is really nice.
So I want to ask you about the cover that you have done, the Frank Ocean song. You know, you've got your pick of so many millions of songs, and you go with that one.
Why?
So why that one, and what does that song? How does that song resonate with you? And what,
Why Frank Ocean? Why Thinking About You? I think, you know, I'm such a fan of his the way he structures his songs. I love that he actually tells a story, and that it's not the usual "I love you." He says it in the way he would say it, and he, you know, I guess really kind of beating around the bush and taking your time to get to that message, and he does that really well, and I love that. I think the way he performs the song vocally is quite intense, and I love that. I love that he, you know, I was able to connect with that without being too much, you know, because vocally he doesn't, a great singer, but through that song it's quite it's soft and pleasant, and really without trying, really, he sings it.
So in the recording studio, I just want to sort of get a feel for how you are in the recording studio, particularly with this iTunes session. When you decide to record a new album, or with this new release, are you more of a spontaneous sort of go with the flow type of an artist in the studio, or is it more of a structured and disciplined, this is how it's gonna, how we're gonna work at this, how I want it to sound?
Yeah, definitely. I guess as an artist, when I walk into a studio, I'm pretty random at most times, and I think, you know, that's how you have to be when it's with music. You can't really force anything. Well, I believe when I'm writing something, I can't force anything to be what it's not. So I tend to just go with the flow. I go with, you know, where the beat's going. I'll have my melodies connect with that, and then so on, the lyrics come, and then it all really falls into place. But there's not really a structure. I think I love being able to work freely and not to go by what's always there, or what's meant to be there. It's just like whatever fits.
So whatever happens in the studio, and so
whatever happens, happens.
When it comes to writing, because you touched on writing there, you know, you've become more involved with writing over the years. What inspires you when it comes to sitting down to write a new track? What sort of themes do you feel more sort of confident and comfortable writing?
When it comes to writing, I generally go by my experiences. You know, go by what I only know. You know, when I'm collaborating, you know, it makes it a little bit more spicy, because you know, you have someone else's experience different from yours, and that's what makes it quite special as well, when you're able to work with someone that has a different view, and maybe, just maybe, you could make it work. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily go your way, but in the end you kind of make an agreement, and you know, it's then that's always nice. But yeah, you know, I think throughout a lot of, you know, my writing sessions and creating, you know, my first and my second album to my third, my current one, Beautiful, you know, I've always, you know, had a lot of support, and that's, you know, with a lot of songwriters, and you know, I'm just happy to support them as well. But it's definitely a family, a team,
So when it comes to collaborations, you've collaborated with a few quite prominent artists in the industry. Is there anyone who you would love to collaborate with in the future? Maybe Frank Ocean.
Oh, Frank Ocean would be amazing. Thanks for throwing it in there for me. He's someone I definitely dream of collaborating with. Also Miguel. My current favourite at the moment is my favourite song at the moment is actually Nico and Vin's, which is Am I Wrong? Do you know that song?
Your voice.
Trying to think that we could be something for real.
Yep. No.
Yeah. But I love a song that's a little bit more free and a little bit more celebrated of life. You know, having grown up in Darwin, you know, and would run barefoot and, you know, swim at the beach with the crocodiles and swim in water holes. But, you know, it was really kind of, you know, living on the edge really, but without any fear really growing up. And that's one thing that I really celebrate when I'm in the studio is, you know, living life every day, and that's always something fun to write about because it's always spontaneous and more free flow because it's the nature, I guess. Yeah.
So I just want to go back to the start of when you came to find yourself as an artist through Australian Idol. Have you found it hard to sort of cut from that mould, and you know, has it been sort of a task to prove your sort of legitimacy as an artist in your own right?
Yeah, it's funny. I've you know, ever since coming off Idol, there's always been this thing of, you know, have you ever wanted to be, you know, to have a bit of a break from Idol, or, you know, is there some kind of tie, or do you feel that, you know, you'll ever break away from it? It's just something that, you know, allowed me to get to where I am really, and I am really appreciative of that, and I definitely think about it every day. It's you know, to get that opportunity of showcasing yourself, you don't ever get that every day, so being able to get that courage and to have that support around me to get up on that stage, to be judged was scary, you know, at the age of 16. So I didn't know what was in store for me, though I went with my heart. And I think in life or in everything that you do and something that you love, you must go with how you feel. So that's how, you know, how it's got me where I am today, really.
I mean, that's opened a lot of doors for you as well. Exactly.
Yeah, being truthful and honest with yourself.
I mean, that's, you know, it's opened a lot of opportunities for you. For example, your recent performance on Eurovision.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, phenomenal.
Well, yeah, you know, without that door opening, there wouldn't be opportunities of, you know, representing Australia at Eurovision. You know, or you know, being able to go off scene to sing for the closing games in Glasgow, the Commonwealth Games. So it's it's those things where I think back to doing Idol and being that confident little girl, you know.
I mean, did you ever think that they would you know, all of these enormous opportunities to represent Australia would come from being on Australian Idol? No,
not coming from Idol anyway. Yeah. I mean, I used to dream big, you know, when I was back in primary school and high school, but never did I think I'd actually do something like it, or get the courage to do it, you know. I was always a quiet little girl, I was always the one in the back of the class, never put my hand up. So the fact that I did, you know, gather that love and that courage, it's kind of bizarre to think, that I'm sitting here and talking, you know, about that journey and where I am now.
So just touching on Eurovision, have you considered growing a beard? And what sort of beard do you think what sort of beard do you think you'd be able to pull off?
Oh no, not me. I think it would be a total joke, honestly, if I was to ever grow a beard, or to just even wear one. No one would take me serious, honestly. But you know, she's such an incredible performer, and I was, you know, to be able to witness that movement, I think for her was definitely something, you know, a life-turning moment for her. And I can just imagine, you know, feeling that moment when I came runner-up on Idol. I felt like I won, and that everything that just fell into place. Not yet knowing what else was coming, so you know, congratulations to her and her future, and you know, I support that 100%. I love seeing people that you know, stand up for their own and fight for something that they love so much. I'm a big believer in that.
So going back to the iTunes session, are fans going to get a chance to see these songs being performed in these settings and, you know, these versions of these songs in a live setting? Are you going to be taken to the road?
I would love to tour the EP. I mean, the iTunes session was just, there was so much energy, you know, between what we had created, myself, Darryl, and Kevin, and yeah, I think, you know, I personally think that if we could possibly take it on the road, that would be, yeah, that would be pretty special to have everyone do what we did in that studio. Was quite electrifying. So yeah, I definitely, if I had the opportunity, I would do it.
We'll keep our
Straight
fingers
up.
crossed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.